What exactly does Wesley Bryan need to do to qualify for the 2025 PGA Tour? We're going to get into it, and I'm going to, hopefully the goal is to simplify so we can know what to expect for the final event for qualifying for the 2025 season, the RSM Classic here in Georgia, St. Simon Island, this week and this weekend. It's going to be phenomenal shootout. So we're going to dive in to all of that. By the way, thanks for listening and watching the podcast. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, really appreciate the support if you do that. And there's links in the video description below for discounts and things like that as you approach the holidays. And if you want something fantastic, let's dive in. Now, Wesley he's making it exciting and torturous for all of us as we go forth trying to plan our weekend. And we're like, all right, do I watch golf or do I not watch golf? And I guess the best thing is not to watch because they're not going to show Wesley anyways, sadly, even though they should. We talked about this last week when he had a record, like an amazing round and got himself into contention, and they chose to do zero with it and show you nothing. And we went off on it, and rightly so. Again, not only did Wesley do it again on Saturday, shooting a course record 61 on Saturday, but I mean, that vaulted him not only into massive contention for the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, but also put him inside the number for the PGA Tour Card playing privileges for next year. So 10 under 60 round. Then sadly, he follows it up, which is common. It's hard to go lights out and then lights out again. It's very, very rare. Typically, this is what happens. And he shoots a 3 over par 74 to finish tied for 17th. Sadly, he could have locked up his playing privileges for next year if he had just kind of hung in there. And maybe this was hanging in there. But let's say he shoots even par. He's 3 shots better, and he would finish at 13 under, which would have been a tie for 8th, which would have done a lot for him, gotten a lot more points. But just think if he went like 4 under, he would have been, what, 16 under par. Like, he would have been right there if he had done something phenomenal. And unfortunately, of the leaders, you look at all the guys who were in contention. The winner shot 3 under, then even 5, 3, 2 under, 1 over Justin Lauer. He should have won, but he kind of messed up, whatever. Or he had a chance, 3 under, 2 under, 1 under. So of all the leaders, look at all these guys go under par. If they don't, it's 1 over until you get to poor Wesley at 3 over. So of the people in contention, Wesley did the worst. Dang it. Why'd you have to go and do that? So that's too bad. So that means what we have to talk about today gets a whole lot more complicated because of this. Because if you look at where he currently is on the FedEx Cup standings, which are already confusing, but that's okay. He is 125th on the list. Top 125 make it and earn their tour cards for next year. Currently, if it ended today, he would be the last man in. That's phenomenal. That's great. He's got 405 points, and he is, 9 points ahead of Hendrik Norlander, who's 126. All right, so here's how this works. They have the FedEx Cup points total for the entire year. That's the FedEx Cup playoffs, and that's one thing. Then the first time they're doing this, they have the FedEx Cup Fall Series. Those points are themselves, they're their own thing. If you're ranked 50 in points or higher, you get 0 points for any of these fall events. So even if you play, you get nothing. It's only for players who are ranked 51st below. Those players earn fall FedEx Cup points. And these players who earn these points, they are trying, most of them are trying to secure their tour card for next year. So all these guys get to play. So if you're 50th, you might not even play. You might take some time off. The thing is, though, the players who have a secure card, you're 60 on the list, 65th, even 100, you're pretty much safe. Those players don't necessarily have to play. So they're really playing, their play could really mess up guys like Wesley Bryan, Joel Damon, Zach Blair, Sam Ryder, David Skins, Daniel Berger, Pearson Coody. I mean, all the guys kind of on the bubble are being affected by the play of these people who are already secure. So some 51 through 100 and something, they can take points from you and kick you off the tour for next year, maybe the rest of your life. That's the reality of the situation. The players, the rest are fighting for their livelihood, their job for next year. So that's what happens. Here's what gets interesting now that we're in the final event of the year for playing privileges. When it comes time to make the cut and earn points, if you miss the cut, you get 0 points. And you need points to make it. Wesley doesn't currently need any points. He could potentially miss the cut and make it if Norlander doesn't get 9 points or better. The only people that can knock Wesley off at this point are those below him. He could do whatever. He could go all the way to, up the ladder, but he doesn't knock anybody off if he gets, because he's already inside the number. The only people that kick him out are people outside the number coming in. So if one of these guys does better than Wesley, he moves down, unless he does better than somebody he's above. So, for example, Joel Damon is only 2 points ahead of Wes. So 2 points is basically last place if you make the cut. So if somebody kicks Wesley out and Wesley finishes 2 points higher than Joel Damon's out and they leapfrog. So that's why it gets complicated. So kind of the best thing to do is say, okay, how many points do I need to be secure for my tour card? And it's an estimation. That's what you got to kind of figure out. It's like, okay, what is it going to be? And it's almost impossible to say an exact number, but I would say if Wesley can obtain 10 points and get to 415, I think he's safe. Because here are the players we've got to really, truly look at. I put them all in here for us to look over. These are all the players. They're all in the RSM Classic. They're all in there. And these are the ones that could kick him out. Daniel Berger, Cody Pearson. Now, this gentleman had a great event this past week at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. He finished tie 17. So he moved up the ladder from 138. So he's playing well is what I'm saying. He'd be a guy to kind of watch out for. So he could mess him up. And then there's a whole list. These are the guys: Kevin Streelman, Michael Thorbjornsen, Kevin Tway, Matt Wallace, Gary Woodland, Carl Yoon, Dylan. All the guys here on this list are the ones that really pose the biggest risk to Wesley Bryan. All these guys are ones that could jump into the number and bump Wesley out of the number. So I'm thinking if Wesley on this list here were to go from 405 to 415, he would be safe. If somebody down here, like if Daniel Berger goes and wins and Wesley misses the cut, you get 0, then he's in. then obviously he gets 0 points. So first and foremost, Wesley has to make the cut. All right, then once he makes the cut, where does he need to finish? So we're trying to guesstimate where he needs to finish. Last place is like 2 points. First place is going to be 500 points. Second place is 300, then 200, 125, 100. So it all depends really on where the other players finish that are on the list of guys that can knock him out. But if he were to get in that RSM Classic and make the cut, and he's around 25th place in that zone, I think he's 100% safe. If he's at the bottom, like around 60th place, that's where things get a bit sketchy. Now we've got to look at a whole bunch of other players and see what they're doing. And here's really also where it gets kind of extra sticky is the players who are playing in the RSM Classic who get 0 FedEx Cup fall points, no matter what they do, because they're already in the top 50. They could potentially make a putt or miss a putt, and it gives a guy a tour card or sends him onto the Korn Ferry Tour or off in no man's land for next year. Because it could drop a guy from a tie for enough points to make it to I'm a couple points shy and you don't get anything. So that's going to be interesting to see. Let's say you're playing with Wesley Bryan and you guys are buddies and you're already qualified. Either you get no points or you're fine. You're safe. You're in the top 125 already. Nothing that happens is going to affect your standing. You already are locked. And you're looking at this 2-footer. But if you miss, Wesley gets enough points to make it on tour. And what are you going to do? I'm not saying guys are going to be missing kick-ins, but I am saying it creates a whole interesting scenario where that could definitely be in play to where one could say, well, you had your chance throughout the year to make a bunch of other putts, but you missed them. So it's your own dang fault. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, this guy could literally hand you a tour card or steal it away. That could be a potential. Either way, I think we know this. No matter what happens, the PGA Tour is not going to show any Wesley Bryan on television. No matter what happens. The guy gets a course record, no footage. The guy shoots a lights out Saturday, nothing. We don't even know who you are. The only interesting thing about the Butterfield Bermuda Championship in Bermuda is the fact that Wesley's guys, his brother and his camera guys and stuff, they're out there filming. Now, there's no way in the world the PGA Tour would let that happen. So for certain that's a sponsor deal, that the sponsor, Butterfield, said, no, we support these guys. They come out to Bermuda and they do other content around our course and our company, and they promote us. So we're part of the deal is they get to create their own content, which is going to be released after the tournament. And the PGA Tour really has no say in that, and they don't like it, and because they like to own all the everything of footage. And since the sponsor is like, no, it's here, we're doing that. That's the way it's going to be. So they work out that arrangement. But the TV people, the PGA Tour said, don't show them on television. No, because they're whatever. Because it's foolish. And now on Sunday afternoon, when exciting things are happening, none of us get to see what we want to see. Wesley Bryan making triple bogeys and double bogeys to make us sweat it out. That's exciting. What's not exciting is to sadly watch the leaders who we don't even know put us to sleep. I'd rather have some excitement in my life. So we're once again not going to have that from the RSM Classic. Sadly, I wish they would change their policy, their minds. I'm pleading with you. We want the excitement of it. Please show us the YouTube guy that everybody wants to see anyways. So can you please do that? Please. I'm asking nicely, I think. Please. Thank you. Let me know your thoughts, concerns, everything down below. It's going to be a wild weekend is what I'm saying, and incredibly complicated. Peace. See you soon.